national security benefits from a strong, dynamic, growing economy right here in the United States. We are going to have a great opportunity to enhance the standard of living, making sure that we deal with a wide range of concerns the American people want us to address. We have a Californian who's come in, who is a very, very important investigative reporter at the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin. And I'm talking, of course, about Sarah Carter, who has done amazing investigative work on the paramount issue of our time, and that is our nation's security at the borders. And I want to welcome Sarah to Washington, D.C., and to say thank you for all of the great reporting that you've done, because frankly, so much of your reporting has led to our moving on legislation here that is designed to focus on improving our border security. And you know, I always like to say that border security is national security. Most of the people who are here simply want to work and simply want to feed their families.
There's a lot of people, I mean, the majority. Right. I mean, they're crossing the border to find
What T.J. Bonner, the head of the Border Patrol Council, told me is that 98% of the people who come into this country illegally, 98% simply want to work and feed their families. It's 2% who are criminals and potential terrorists. I mean, do you agree with that number from what you've seen? Or
you know what, I do to a certain extent. I do from what I've seen. But
and that's just his as a border patrol agent.
Well, look, I mean, I spent a lot of time in Smuggler's Gulch, and I went back there numerous times.
How's the construction of our filling that 3.5-mile gap in the Smuggler's Gulch? I should say for our audience what that is. We in 1996 and 1997 worked, and actually President Clinton signed the law that allowed us to construct a 14-mile border fence from the Pacific Ocean to Otay Mesa. Unfortunately, the California Coastal Commission found that the Bell's vireo bird had nested on part of the fence, so they refused to allow us with lawsuits to complete that 3.5-mile gap. We passed legislation that I was pleased to work on with a number of my colleagues, and we were able to override those lawsuits, and we're working on completion of that 3.5-mile gap. So when were you last at Smuggler's Gulch there?
Oh, not too. Actually, I'm going back in a few weeks.
How are we doing on the construction of completion of that gap?
It's working. It's working. When I went down
it's
there,
not completed though yet.
No, not at all. Not by any means.
Right.
There's an area between Tijuana and the United States, between San Diego, where the estuary is, the Tijuana estuary.
That's estuary, where that's the environmental area.
Yeah, exactly, the environmental area. There's an area
where there's all kinds of waste and trash. That was why I said to the environmentalists, I said, you know, they wouldn't allow the construction of the fence because of the environment, and yet the fact that that opening is there, that area is plundered environmentally because of the waste.
Well, you can't go on the beach.
Yeah.
You can't even walk on the beach without being warned.
So the environmentally correct thing would be to complete the fence.
Because of the traffic.
Exactly.
Because of the traffic.
Because of all of that waste that's there.
Well, and there's a lot of movement of narcotics as well, you know, from Tijuana through that area. There's 4 main, what they call water tunnels going in the canyon between Mexico and the U.S. And a lot of the migrants use those tunnels to move not just people across, but to move narcotics. And when you had talked to me about, the majority of people that come here, I believe, do come seeking work or looking for a better life. But there's a large group as well. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but that are criminals. And I mean, some of them will even tell you, you know, if you meet them, oh yeah, I spent time in, you know, Soledad, and well, you don't even have an accent. Well, I came here when I was 2 or 3 to the U.S. and I've been illegal, and when I got busted, I got sent back, and then now I'm coming back across. And so you wonder sometimes.
And of course, we had the horrible case of Armando Garcia, the Mexican national, who was charged with killing Deputy Sheriff David March.
And thank God. I mean, I know you worked extensively hard on that to get Armando Garcia brought back to justice. And
well, you know, we got delays on that. You know, unfortunately, and I saw the story in your paper on that. We're still working, and it may be a while before we get him back. But at least he's been captured.
Well,
he's off the street, which is
we hope he stays off the street. You know, that's always an issue as well. A lot of times. You know, they work from their prisons in Mexico and conduct business from there. So, I mean, that's another difficult issue. One of the things that I hope that, you know, we can continue to focus on is national security and border security. And I really think that's post-September 11th really changed the way the American people viewed our relationship with our neighbors and with our border. I think prior to September 11th, people were more open about the border, and maybe we're hoping for some kind of resolution. But the post-September 11th really, really changed that.
Absolutely.
And it's those stories that I'm looking for when I'm investigating. Is it really open? Let me look. You know, and I go down to the border and I spend my time down there because that's the only way I'm going to get the story out, and the real story. And what I found is that, yeah, we do have a serious problem, and it's gratifying to know that Congress is really looking at it and taking it seriously. And
you know, as you know from the last interview that you did with me, we feel strongly about the House bill, which is focused on securing our borders, as opposed to a bill that could grant amnesty, get this path to citizenship. And you know, back in 1986, I was a big supporter of Ronald Reagan's. As you know, I was elected to Congress the day Ronald Reagan was elected president. I'm very proud of that fact. But I disagreed with him in 1986 when he had this bill that granted amnesty. And in fact, I should probably dig up my speech in the congressional record then. What I said at the time was that I was concerned that if you grant amnesty to people who are here illegally, it says to anyone else around the world, heck, I might as well enter the United States illegally because one day they'll make me a citizen. And that was really the problem, because under the Simpson, so-called Simpson-Mazzoli bill, the Immigration Reform and Control Act of '86, that basically for about 3 million people did provide a chance for just giving them a complete pardon. And that's why I think it's very important that we not send that signal. And I've said that as we move ahead with our quest for legislation, you know, one of my priorities, of course, is establishing a smart, counterfeit-proof Social Security card to end the magnet that draws people. No, I'm the one asking the questions, Sarah. I'm asking you questions. You're not asking me. The magnet that draws people across the border. And it's also imperative that we make sure that we don't put people on the path to citizenship or in any way grant amnesty that rewards illegal behavior. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to do. Okay, if you want to ask me a question, you can now too, since you're the reporter.
Was I giving you the hard look
since you're
now?
the reporter.
No, I can't help myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a reporter,
you're
so
an
I want to ask the
reporter.
questions.
Right.
But no, that's an important point that you brought up, and it's something that a lot of people have been sending me emails about. You know, how can we take care of this so that it doesn't happen again? One of the interesting points that you just brought up is the fact that, like, if we give any form of amnesty, we haven't taught a lesson.
Right.
We will be expecting another group of people
to enter.
We're
rewarding illegal behavior is what we're doing.
And that's what I hear a lot from readers, you know. Sarah, if we give them amnesty now, then 10 years from now, we're going to have another 6 million that want, or another 12 million or 20 million. And
that's why I think the Social Security card is the key, because right now, as you know, there are 37 different documents that can be used for applying for a job. And employers are only supposed to hire people who have documents. But as somebody said to me the other day, you can go to MacArthur Park in downtown Los Angeles, and it's more efficient than the federal government. It's one-stop shopping. You can get your birth certificate, your driver's license, your Social Security card, your school ID card, your library card, all of which can be fraudulent.
The frightening part of it is that it is so wide open. How do you stop it? How do you work it out? How do you create a foreign policy with Mexico that is secure and unfettered, and that you know they're doing their part as well to protect us? And
it's a challenge we deal with every single day in trying to do that, because you're right, there's great corruption in Mexico. I mean, corruption within the police.
And there's good people.
Yeah, and they're good people, and I'll tell you, there are people who are trying very much to address these problems. And I think that, again, back to that case that we had with Armando Garcia, it was the Mexican officers who successfully founded that guy, and I think that's an important thing to note. Let me just say that our time has flown by, and I have spent a lot of my career in public service criticizing many people in the media. Not all, but many people in the media. And it's wonderful to have an investigative reporter who is literally there in Southern California on the front line taking on one of the most important problems that we have. And I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing, because you're helping us implement good public policy and address this concern.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
And thank you very, very much for being with us, and welcome to Washington. And again, congratulations on receiving the Eugene Katz Award. And
well, it's an honor.
Oh, thanks. And it's great to have you all with us. Thank you very much, and hope you'll join us for our program next time. Thank you.